Hello, welcome to Serving the Valley. This is a Cedar Falls television production that gets you up close and personal about what I think makes this part of Iowa kind of a nice place to call home. I'm Roy Justice, and today folks are here to educate Roy once again. This segment is going to be called, will forever be called, Cedar Valley Angels, and we have a couple of angels to join us. This should be very interesting. Derek Kimball is the executive director of Cedar Valley Angels. Welcome, Derek.
Morning.
Ebony Cody is trying to figure out what is she doing here. Ebony Cody is one of the case managers of Cedar Valley Angels. And Kelsey Schmitz is responsible for this entire program. She's the vice president and board member. And seriously, this is a really new agency here in the Cedar Valley. And I'm hoping in the next several minutes we can educate you on what it is they do, and they do it very well. Derek, if we had to know in a sentence or two what you do, how would you explain that to somebody like Roy?
Yeah, so we take people in the community who are excited about supporting a foster care system and partner them with foster families to help lift them up because their work is really difficult.
We have done a previous program about the foster parenting situation here in the Cedar Valley and the need for foster parents, and we're going to get deeper into that in the time we have. There are many issues for consideration for foster parents. Among those is the amount of time and maybe expense that might be necessary. And there's I think, some fallacies about that whole situation. How do people start into the foster parenting situation?
Yeah, well, usually they're recruited somehow, and then they have to take a class that's a 10-week, 3 hours a week class, so 30 hours. That is, and then they have to have a home study and background checks, and that kind of stuff to get done before they can start in to their foster parenting journey.
I alluded to the need. Mm-hmm. The need apparently is still great.
Yeah. Yep. I would say right now we've got about 3 times the number of kids in foster care in Blackhawk County than we do foster parents. Now, some of those kids are, they're in a facility or they live with grandma or grandpa or aunt or uncle, but we definitely have a shortage of foster parents. We have a kid in our home right now, and I got a call yesterday from 4 Oaks. Hey, do you have any room in your house? And I was like, not really. So yes, we definitely have a shortage of foster parents right now.
Okay, so to get into your cohorts here in the angel category, fairly new to the situation?
Yeah, just about a few months ago, I think.
June.
Just started June.
And what was it that pulled you into the Cedar Valley Angels?
Derek.
Right.
I grew up in foster care, and so one of my biggest things and passions was to do something within the foster care system, whether that be with adoption or anything with social work. And I just happened to be at an event that Derek was attending, and he approached me and asked me about what I was doing, which then turned into, hey, this is what I do, and I kind of went on the internet and stalked the website a little bit and learned about it and was like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Mm-hmm. And I asked him about, career opportunities, and here we are.
And we just happened to be hiring at the time, so that really kind of worked out. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so your situation, you're on the board, correct?
Yep.
Okay, and how many are on the board?
7 people on the board.
Okay, and by the way, where are you? Where is Cedar Valley
Like
Angels?
where are we located physically?
Right.
So we have an office out of a building that Orchard Hill Church owns. Mm-hmm. That's a small little kind of bedroom-sized office right now. So that's kind of it works for the time being. Okay. So that's where we're located. Yeah.
As I bounce back to Kelsey, what drew you into this?
I'm an adoptive parent, and the adoption foster care community is closely intertwined. And after our kids had been a part of our family for several years, I felt like it was my turn to take what I know about adoption and kids entering your home with trauma and take it outside of the walls of our home. And I wanted to serve foster families, but I kept running into this wall of I don't know how to help. And so when I heard about National Angels, Austin Angels, Cedar Valley Angels, right away for me, it was a big yes, because this was a way to connect the dots between, in my opinion, a community that wants to be here for our foster families and our foster families who are doing hard work inside the walls of their home every day.
Okay, so as a caseworker, Ebony, as we're bouncing, I'm driving our director nuts. I go,
No, you're fine. You're doing great.
As a caseworker, you get deep down into each individually with these families. Where's the serious need right now to empower these families and these kids who are in the program?
Yeah. Right now, what I would say is a lot of it is the emotional aspect, it's the relational aspect. Sometimes when I go into the homes and I'm talking to these foster parents, more times than not, I'm hearing, I just really want some adult time. I want someone to talk to. I want to be able to open up about what's going on and feel like it's okay and it's a safe space. And so I'd say that's probably the biggest piece.
So the bottom line here is eventually we're empowering kids to move into adulthood and move on with their life.
Absolutely.
That's the ultimate goal.
Absolutely. Yep.
Now, I talked about the need. We talked about, and there's a waiting list.
Yep.
How do you keep recruiting?
So the foster and adoptive network in the Cedar Valley is pretty tight knit. It's not very big. We kind of, like Kelsey talked about, we know each other. And so I see a lot of our foster parents when I go to trainings and I go to things that like a Four Oaks or a DHS puts on, because I'm a foster parent as well. And so I see a lot of these people, and so I get to talk to them when they're there as well, getting their, they're taking a class to keep their license current. And then we're working with Four Oaks as well. And so they get to hand out our information and say, hey, you should really call Derek, or you should really call Ebony. This is a really great service that you could use in your home, I think.
So we're building upon the relationships. We start with the training.
Yep.
The kids come from?
They come from all kinds of places. I mean, usually they come from a biological parent that is having some trouble and needs some intervention in order to get some things figured out before they can hopefully get their kids back.
And this eventually may lead to adoption from the foster parenting?
Yeah, about half of the time, roughly, that's a real rough statistic, we have kids that go back to their biological parents because they have figured out whatever they need to figure out in order to have them back. And half the time, we do see those rights that get terminated, and then the kids are adoptable, sometimes by family members or sometimes by foster parents, people in the community.
Okay, so and the connection is maintained throughout the life of the child involved, if that's possible?
The connection with who?
With everybody, where it started.
Yeah.
The idea is to keep all those connections as long as possible?
Yes. With kids who have experienced traumatic events, the more times that we have to sever a relationship, the more times they have to move from this home to this home, the harder it is for them. Kids on average lose 6 months academically every time they move from one home to the next, and the relational implications are just so hard. So yeah, we want to keep those relationships with those kids. So in our Love Box program, our volunteers, we say, hey, if this child were to move from this home to this home and it's a reasonable distance and it fits, then we would want you to continue to go and to see this child and to see this new family, so that child has somebody that's consistent in their lives, other than the workers, the Four Oaks and DHS and those kinds of people.
Okay, you just used a term, and I need to have that defined a little better. You said Love Box.
Yeah.
What is the Love Box?
So like I said earlier, the Love Box program takes a group of people from the community, partners them with a foster family in an effort to lift up that whole home and be, kind of like Ebony said, a real relational, emotional support for those parents and for those kids. And the reason we call it a Love Box is because they actually take a box full of goods, full of things that the kids and the families want or need every month, as a way to say, hey, I see you, I appreciate you, I believe in you, and I want to give you something to show that, hey, I'm here for you, and I'm listening to the things that you want and need. So it's another way for us to say, hey, we are here for you. We want to come alongside you and help lift you up.
As it turns out, as if by magic, let's sprinkle a little bit of angel dust, if you will, and show the folks what we've just been talking about.
Hi. Hi, do you want to come inside? Hi, I'm Rebecca. We're really excited to have you be part of the family. Come on, it's okay.
Hi, I'm Uncle John. Thanks.
Tommy, get off! Get off your brother!
I'll take this.
Tommy, stay down. Let your brother get it.
Hi, Emma. I'm Amber. I brought you some shoes. I heard that you really like science, right? And a backpack. It's big enough for all the science books, right? Here, you want to try it on?
It's really big.
I know. Oh, there you go.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome, beautiful. See you later. Yes, yes, yes. I brought you a football.
There you are, graphically speaking, the love box. We're here with Derek and Ebony and Kelsey, and we're talking about the Cedar Valley Angels. To a specific point, and this came as a surprise to me as I was reading through some of the verbiage before we came on the air. PTSD, which we normally hear referred to by those returning from military service, can also show up in kids. Is this something it shows up often?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Next question.
No. I just, I'm kind of an air hog here. All kids that that are in foster care have experienced at least 2 traumatic events. One was the reason that the authorities were alerted in the first place.
Okay.
And the second was when that child, a lot of times, late at night or unexpectedly, opens their eyes to see that the police are there. The fire department is there, the DHS is there, and they are being taken and put into a strange car with a strange person and dropped off at a strange house and have no idea what's going on. So definitely our kids have things that can trigger them into those past events that have happened, and likely there's more than just 2.
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Ebony, I'm coming back to you again.
Okay.
Even though you're new to the system and you came up a little bit yourself within the system, what comes to the top of your mind as the biggest need out there right now within the entire operation of foster care?
Like within the Cedar Valley Angels,
Yes.
the entire
Yes.
need? People who are wanting to get involved, I'd say. We've got a ton of people in the community that are wanting to do something but don't know what, and I mean, being here and raising awareness is huge because, just like me, I didn't even know this existed. And had I known this, like if this started like years ago in this area, I would have like jumped on, right away if I knew about it. And so I think just raising awareness about what we're doing and like that there is someone out there doing something, and that, those people who are like, I want to be able to do something, but I don't know how to help, and I'm not called to foster or adopt, but and I think that's kind of like we have a saying that goes like, not all are called to foster or adopt, but we're all called to do something.
Yes.
And I couldn't say that that's the most truest thing I think I've ever heard, that we're all called to do something, and that may not be to foster or adopt, but it could be to volunteer, it could be to donate, it could be really anything in those areas.
So if we've touched the nerve of someone who wants to do something and they're looking for a contact, how would they contact you?
So they could contact me at my email or phone number, which are both on the website, Derek@CedarValleyAngels.org, 319-939-1909 are the two ways to best contact me. And to go along with what Ebony was saying, I'll brag on her here for a minute. Up until about a month ago, we had more children and more families on our wait list than we did in the program, just because my capacity was only so much to grow our organization. And so we had something like 50-some kids and 10 families, I think, on our wait list. We still have 4 or 5 and like 30 children that are on our wait list. But I'm really proud of the fact that in the last month we have grown up to serving 52 children and 14 families every month right now. But yeah, the need for volunteers is always there because we want to make the best matches with foster families and volunteers that we can, and that doesn't mean just taking Roy and Ebony and just saying, oh, let's just draw a line between them. Let's talk to them and see what is the best kind of relational match here. And so having volunteers in our network, people that step forward and say, yeah, I would be willing to go and hang out with a foster family once or twice a month, is huge for us. That's probably always going to be our biggest need. And we do have, raising awareness, we're new. And also because we're new, we have a lot of funding needs too. And so I would say, yeah, the volunteer is definitely going to be the front running need most of the time for us.
Okay. I didn't mean to skip over because you weren't applying for the job, you already have a job. But a little bit of your educational background.
Yeah, so I grew up in Jessup, just a little bit east of here, and I went to UNI, a degree in math education, which is kind of funny when I tell people that math education and now you're doing this. So I taught high school math at East High in Hudson here in the Cedar Valley, and being a foster and adoptive family, we started our adoption journey in 2012. That was kind of the thing that got me into the foster adoptive network in our community, and I started to hear the stories, and the same stories over and over of, I don't know what to do, I don't know where to turn, I don't have enough capacity, I feel like I'm just kind of barely above water right now. And between my wife and I, we just kind of brainstormed, hey, what could we do? And that's kind of how this happened. So.
And Kelsey, in higher education, Iowa State was where your campus?
Yep, I have a degree in elementary education at Iowa State. I taught for 6 years, and then we became an adoptive family as well in 2012. And
we didn't know each other.
No.
We actually met through a mutual friend, which
Right.
was kind of a fun story too.
Yep. And so we adopted our 3 children at that time. And so then I've been doing the full-time mom gig since then. And as our kids have gotten older, was just ready to do more.
And Ebony, in your case, your education just continues every day. And who thought at the beginning of this day you'd be right here educating us?
Yeah, who knew?
I want to thank you all for joining us and helping to educate Roy about this new nonprofit, fairly new nonprofit here in the Cedar Valley, the Cedar Valley Angels. For further contact information, Jeremy, do we have a look at that? As if by magic, there it is right there. Any folks out there wanting to get more information about the Cedar Valley Angels, there's your contact right there. And I want to thank all three of you for joining us
Thank
on
you.
our program
Thanks,
today.
for having us.
Okay. And until our next opportunity unfolds, serving the Valley, I'm Roy Justice.